Gamers, as you may know, I just finished a Duelist Cup pretty recently, a couple of days ago, and I did kind of want to talk about a couple of things, not just the Duelist Cup, just the format and the meta in general. You know, when there's a Duelist Cup, it does kind of give you an outlook on the current format of the game and where the game is at, and there are a couple of things that I want to discuss. Now, first of all, I do want to give Konami props actually for the Duelist Cup. I've been very vocal about how much I hate the Duelist Cup. The last two we've had were absolutely horrendous. The first one we had, I think like last summer, it was like hacked on format, or you were playing Floanderies. Literally, it was one or the other. Then the second one was actually even worse. It was like all just a bunch of runic stun. Like literally runic stun was tier 0 basically on that event. It was absolutely disgusting. That event was so bad. So I was really not optimistic about the Duelist Cup until like I started feeling out the format just before the Duelist Cup started, and I realized like right now the format is quite diverse, and that's still the case. And honestly, I have to say Duelist Cup was actually probably, well, no, definitely, it was definitely the best Duelist Cup we've had so far, and it was a decent format, very varied. Adamantipator's, Sprite, like adventure pile decks going around. Exo Sisters was good, Sword Soul was good, bunch of other decks too that I'm probably forgetting to mention, like I guess Dragon Link and a bunch of other things too. It was so diverse. Like the format right now is very diverse, which is nice, and I definitely enjoyed that. Like for once you weren't always facing the same one or two decks for the Duelist Cup. For the first time, I actually kind of enjoyed my climb to 20. I didn't really see it as being in hell or anything like that like I did the last couple of ones, and I actually like played it every day after it started until I got to dual level max because I just thought it was so fun. So yeah, I mean, props to Konami for that. Now there are a couple of issues that I do want to discuss about the current format. There are a couple of things, a couple of caveats that I want to discuss with you guys, and I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts. As you guys probably already know, it's basically banlist season when there's a Duelist Cup. Usually very shortly after a Duelist Cup, we'll get a new ban list, and I'm really hoping for a heavy hitter this time because there's a couple of cards in the format that I think just shouldn't be there, that have been really toxic in the event. Not to say I hated the event or anything, just to say that there's some cards that clearly are just way too overpowered for the kind of game Master Duel is and the card pool that we have available. You know, in a game like, for instance, like the first one I want to mention, in a game with like grass and the Shizu, like Snow needs to go. One of the worst decks to face in the Duelist Cup was by far that Necroface, Ishizu, Punk, whatever pile you want to call it, and basically they would just like get a bunch of Necrofaces in the graveyard, use Snow to banish them all, and then you have to like banish 15 cards from top of your deck, and then they can actually recycle the Necrofaces. I don't remember with which card, but there was a card that recycled them, and then they could just do it again a bunch of times. They could basically loop it and basically empty out your entire deck like really easily, and that is super toxic. That should not be a thing. And honestly, I think the issue is obviously not Necroface. I actually think Necroface is a really cool card in the game, especially since Runic Stun and Runic in general is very prevalent. I think having a card like Necroface in the format is really cool, and it's cool that it's kind of playable. Even without Snow, it is playable. So yeah, I don't know. I definitely think we should just remove Snow from the game. I think it should be banned. The fact that it's at 3 is insane, but I don't think putting it at 1 really does anything. I've heard some people say, no, they got to put it at 1, and I just don't agree. Rest in peace, Infernoids, I guess. But yeah, I really want to see Snow banned. I'd like to know what you guys think about that, because I mean, I know a lot of people like Snow and a lot of people like playing with it, but dude, it's not once per turn. You can literally, if you called by it, they can just chain the Snow again. Like, there's so many issues with this card. It's a quick effect. It's just so crazy. It can help OTK as well. It can build boards on its own just by like summoning it a bunch of times. There's just so many aspects of Snow that make it such a broken card. So I'm really tired of Snow. I kind of thought it was okay before, but after the Ishizu cards came out, I feel like that really is like the straw that broke the camel's back, and we're kind of at a point where Snow is everywhere and it's getting really annoying. So if they don't want to ban grass, which honestly I'm cool with, I don't think they need to, and even if they did, I still think Snow would be a problem, to be honest. So I really just want to see Snow gone. I'm cool with like the grass pile decks. I think they're pretty cool. I just don't like the degenerate stuff they can do with that Snow Necroface stuff. So I'd really like to see that go. I like the Ishizu pile. I think the Ishizu Punk pile is a sick deck. I think it's awesome. but obviously I don't really want to play with that method. So like, I think the deck is really solid even without that. It doesn't need that to be a good deck. Another card I want to see gone, and let me know your thoughts on this, guys, but I'm pretty sure everyone agrees on this one. I think Scythe should really be banned at this point. Scythe is a bit too easy to access, and the thing I don't like about Scythe, the thing I actually hate about it the most, it's only decks that lose to Scythe that play Scythe. So it just makes going first so friggin' good. Like, it's actually so toxic. Like, a lot of people will defend Maxi by saying, well, you know, it promotes diversity. It makes it better to play a trap deck because you don't have to worry as much about Maxi because you won't be summoning as much. But when it comes to a card like Scythe, that's really not the case. Scythe is at its best in a combo deck, and it's almost exclusively played in combo decks with Dagda and stuff like that. So honestly, like, Scythe has just been such an issue for me recently. Like, in this event in particular, I saw it so much that I even got to a point where, like, I mean, I was just trying to like break boards without using my extra deck. Thankfully, that was kind of possible because I was playing Sprite Adamanticators, and usually people that were setting up Scythe were like Sprite decks. So, you know, set up a couple of bodies after a Dark Ruler no more, and you can usually get your mileage in. But that's not the case for every deck. A lot of decks absolutely can't do anything under those circumstances, including Sprite. So that just makes it super toxic and just kind of annoying. Like, coin flip is already good enough. Going first is already good enough in Master Duel, especially for a best of one format. So I think a card like Scythe is just really degenerate and just not good. If they're not going to remove Scythe, I think they should just remove Dagda. So at least, like, you can't have a combo for Scythe. So maybe back row decks would start running it with the Sanctum. But I really don't like that already top tier combo decks can just play Scythe just because, and it just makes their deck really toxic, and it just like free wins when you're going first. Basically, it's also like way too easy to set up. Like, it's actually ridiculously easy to set up for these decks. I think Scythe should go. I'm sure most people would agree with that. Another card, now this one I'm like kind of mixed on. I'm not sure if it should be banned or not, but I have been playing a little bit of Virtual World recently. Virtual World with the hand rip stuff, and I'm talking about Smoke Grenade of the Thief. It's an old equip card that I believe is banned in the TCG, and basically when it's destroyed, you get to look at your opponent's hand, discard a card from their hand, and it's not once per turn. So there's like decks out there right now that will mill your hand, like, if not your whole hand, they'll mill like 3 or 4 cards out of your hand on turn 1, and then you'll start your turn with like 2-3 cards, and you're just kind of praying at that point because they'll set up usually enough negates to stop you. So it's usually like pretty much impossible to play, especially since they get to look at your hand, which is just crazy. That kind of knowledge is absolutely broken. The fact that they can do it multiple times is crazy too. Now, the reason I'm kind of mixed on if this should be banned or not is these like funny hand rip decks are really bad at going second. They hard lose to Maxi because, like, nice like hand rip strategy. I just drew like 20 cards because you're making a bunch of synchros to hand rip me. So the hand looping doesn't really like pan out against Maxi. And if they did ban it, it's not like you can't play hand rip anymore, but it would kind of just make like Braver Dragon like a significantly worse card. Right now it is kind of in a cool spot where if you're going first with the hand rip deck, you can kind of like destroy your opponent thanks to the Braver Dragon, and you have a negate with it. So it's kind of cool to have that. Like I said, I'm kind of mixed on this because the deck is not very good. Like, it's like I said, it sucks at going second. So in a best of one format, you're not looking that good playing a hand rip deck. It's more so just a meme. However, being on the receiving end of it feels awful. Like, I've been on the receiving end of it, I think, a couple of games during the Duelist Cup, and yeah, it felt pretty terrible. So I don't know what to say. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about this. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts if you guys think Smoke Grenade of the Thief should be banned, but it is really weird. And yeah, like we were talking about Maxi, that's the last one, but like I said, I just don't think this is happening. I don't think they're ever banning Maxi in this game. I think they love Maxi. It would be a good idea if Konami just straight up told us, like, we're not banning this, so that we don't have to like hope for it anymore. The thing about Maxi, I mean, I don't even need to say it, right? It's just free wins, like so many free wins. It's like, did you draw Maxi? Yes. Did your opponent have Ash or Called By? No. Okay, so you win. Like, unless you're playing against a trap deck, which again, I kind of see the argument that it promotes deck diversity in a way, just because decks that don't special summon a lot kind of have this incentive of playing them that Maxi's not around. But honestly, I don't really want to see more incentive for these like stun decks. That's another issue I had this event. Way too many floodgates. Of course, it wasn't the only deck this time. There was good deck diversity, but that doesn't mean there wasn't a bunch of stun runic around. And I honestly think it's about time that they start hitting this stuff. It's getting really annoying playing against a bunch of stun strategies. In a best of one format, floodgates are just so awful. They're just so awful to deal with. And people go like, well, you should just run the back row removal. Okay, you do realize like runic stun doesn't care about back row removal, and it's the most popular stun deck because it can just summon Hugin and it stops your board wipe. So let's say you're running the 1-of Cosmic Cyclone for the fountain, okay? So you're running the 1-of Cosmic Cyclone for the fountain, but there can only be one summon limit and a fountain, and you're out here like, which one do I pick? I lose the game to all of these cards, and I only have my Cyclone. But if you run like Lightning Storm, you activate Lightning Storm, they're going to protect with their freaking Hugin. So it's pointless. And then even worse, you're playing against Eldritch and you're not running Lightning Storm because Eldritch is not a popular stun deck. So then you have this guy with Skill Drain and friggin' there can only be one and Rivalry of Warlords set up, and you don't even have a back row wipe in your deck anymore, because what's the point of even running it when half the time if you're playing against a back row deck, it's runic and they're just going to summon Hugin and protect their back row anyway. So it's just this weird spot where like floodgates are the like really good, like way better than they've been in a while. Floodgates are insane right now, and it's all because runic stun just kind of makes it not worth it to run massive like back row wipes and stuff like that. It's just a weird spot to be in. No one likes these decks really. Like most people absolutely hate these decks like with a passion. I understand a lot of people really hate combo decks like Adamanticators too and stuff like that, but I'm just not in that camp. I'm in the camp that I can't friggin' stand these awful floodgates, these stun cards. I think they're just such an awful playstyle for Yu-Gi-Oh! There's floodgates that are okay, and then there's floodgates that are like so overbearing that they make the game completely unenjoyable. And it's just such free wins too for the people that play them. It doesn't feel like there's any skill involved. Kind of similar to activating Maxi. Activating there can only be one against like a Mathmech player or a Sprite player. Just feels like, oh, well, I guess it's a free win. Yeah, I'm so good. I activated my Fountain 4 times in one turn, drew like 20 cards, and activated Tikaboo on your turn, and I guess I win the game because I drew into my Tikaboo. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think it's really good for the game. So I know this video might be kind of scrambled a little bit. I just kind of wanted to give a bit of my thoughts on the current format. I haven't done a video like this really where I just discuss my thoughts on the format in Master Duel, or if I have, it's been a really long time since. So I just thought it'd be good to drive discussion a little bit, kind of get your guys' thoughts on the current format and how you feel about it. Overall, I will say, even though I complained a lot because I was talking about some cards that I think need to go, I do think the format right now is actually quite fun. It is kind of tough preparing because you really don't know what you're going to be facing in the current format. It could be so many different decks, but I kind of like that. I like that there's a good amount of variety and you don't really know what to expect. So, you know, you can't really run targeted hate to any deck without it costing you a little. Anyway, that's basically all I had to say, guys. Thank you for checking out the video. I hope you like, comment, let me know your thoughts, and we can have a bit of a discussion about this stuff. I just kind of want to know your guys' thoughts on the current format and wanted to give you guys my thoughts on where we're at right now in Master Duel. I know tiers are coming fairly soon, so I can't wait to make a video where I go like, leaks confirmed, oh my god, look at these cards. I can't wait to do that stuff. But yeah, that's definitely going to shake up the meta quite a bit. But even if those cards do come in and shake the meta tremendously when they drop, I still think we need a very thorough ban list. Just something to get rid of like the most popular toxic cards in the game. Obviously, there's always going to be toxic cards or strategies that people don't like and stuff like that. That's normal. And obviously, it's also subjective because it depends on people. Like some people hate Despia still, you know? But I just really want to see these like cards that are just an obvious massive problem that like a lot of people are complaining about. Like Maxi would be a great one, but Snow, Scythe, and Smoke Grenade of the Thief, I've heard a lot of people say these cards should be banned in my chat, so I think it makes sense. Let me know what you think. Huge shout as always to my UCT tier members. That would be Raptor Rapture, JQ the King, Hit or Miss JT, Dad Do Joey, Who the Man Me, Ritos, as well as B-Dubs. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the support. Sorry if I stuttered a little bit there. I was trying to remember everyone that's supporting in UCT tier. And baby tier members, miss tier members, people who like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate you all. That's it for me. All right, peace.